And a good morning to you. Welcome inside the Bottom Line. Lanny Ford, Juju Phillips along with you. The final show before Christmas for us. The boys will be in here Saturday if they don't freeze up, I guess.
Yeah.
It's going to be kind of cold on
Being
Friday.
the single digits, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
I haven't. We haven't. I'm sorry. Don't let me say I haven't. We haven't decided if we're going out of town next week or not. Going to depend on how Kim's feeling. She had this jaw surgery to rebuild the joints in her jaws. One of them was so bad, she had TMJ for years, that they had considered doing a joint replacement on your jaw joint.
Wow.
That would have been massive. That was like a cut from here to here. But they were able to do some reconstruction. We wanted to try that first, and actually it wasn't as bad as they thought when they got in there. And she goes back for post-op today, but she's been on the liquid diet. At least on the liquid diet till next Tuesday, because it was – I know you had to do it for 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And so she's –
Is that hereditary, that condition?
Yeah. She has hereditary bad joints. She had knees, too. She's had a reconstruction on a knee. She was in high school. Her kneecap flipped around to the back, and she had to have that replaced. And then she had reconstruction, and that didn't work. Within a year, we had to do a replacement. They wouldn't do the replacement to start with, insurance-wise, because, well, you're not old enough to have a knee replacement. Well, sometimes age doesn't matter. If it's bad, it's bad.
Yeah, you're right.
So
I agree.
That didn't work, so we had 2 surgeries in no time, basically. So we hadn't really decided. We always go somewhere that week after Christmas for anniversary, and we hadn't really decided if we're doing that this year, depending on how she feels. But we'll wait and see. Like I say, she's got her she's supposed to have her post-op Tuesday, and that didn't work because she just had her lens replacement on Tuesday, which that she's very excited about because that seems to be working pretty good.
Okay.
No glasses, no readers. She said, I can see my phone. I can see, the only thing she's got right now, which will go away as time goes on, is when she looks at lights, it's got the halos.
Okay, yeah.
But that's just
But at nighttime, while you're driving?
Haven't really been out at night.
Okay.
Since she's had this. Yeah. Richie, good morning. Stephen Lowe, good morning to you, sir. Glad to have all you guys with us. I'm going to wait just a little bit to go on my rant. I got to make sure that David Lilly has had an opportunity to jump in here from my visit with her eye surgery. I'll give you more details.
I saw the post that you made.
Pissed me off. Still pisses me off. But before we go there, how about the passing of
Franco?
And you know something else I saw on Facebook today, and I did not know this. On the same day 2 years ago, and I haven't verified this, Kevin Green.
Kevin Green died of a heart attack.
Yeah.
In his sleep.
And I've got his signed Panthers jersey, a huge one here in the studio that I've got. David Lilly's here. Okay, David. I told him we were doing a show yesterday, tuned in today, and I'd give more details. All right, I'll go to that in just a minute. I hate that for Franco.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine told a story on Facebook this morning. Her husband, I knew her, her mother and my mother worked together, and then she married a guy that I grew up with, and he has since passed, had some health issues in past. But Franco came to Lincoln about 10 years ago and was a keynote speaker for the Lincoln County Coalition for Abused Children, I think, something of that nature.
Okay.
And her husband Eddie was a huge Steeler fan and a huge Franco fan, had an old faded Franco jersey on that he wore to the event.
Block letters probably, yep. Number 32.
And a hat. And after it was over, he came down and talked to him. Yeah. And she said that meant so much to him. But Franco was kind of a gentle giant back in his day, very quiet, but he made his points out on the field.
He did. He was probably the guy, along with Joe Green, that gave Pittsburgh Steelers their identity back in the early 70s. Again, the line is, before Franco, the Steelers never won anything. After Franco, they went a long time before won anything, but when he was there, they won a lot. So he was something else. I think it hadn't been talked about a whole lot in Pittsburgh, but Fortunately, I was so blessed to grow up in that period of time in the 70s, in the early to mid to late 70s when I was a teenager. And the Steelers, it wasn't Pittsburgh and the Pittsburgh region. If you tell someone asks where you're from, you don't tell them a little small coal mining town in western PA, which I was from. It's the town about the size of Maiden. You say you were from Pittsburgh, and that's just the way people acted up there. But when the Steelers were not even an afterthought in the sports landscape until 1972 and in the mid-70s. And the play by Franco was something else that put the Steelers basically on the map. They became a football town in the 1970s. Steelers, Pitt Panthers won a national championship in 75. My high school football team won the Western Pennsylvania State Championship in 1975 when I was 14, I believe. So in my formative years, football was a very important part of my life. Steel mills were closing, coal mines were closing at the time in the early and mid to late 70s, and people were out of work. The football team gave a lot of people pride and gave them something to look forward to each and every week during that football season. And the Steelers were right above that. And Franco was the kind of guy, every time I hear athletes and I see athletes make stupid comments, Steve Smith and, others, stuff like that.
But he makes it so easy.
I know, but
okay.
I don't think Franco ever did that.
No.
And he had every reason he could because he was such a famous person. He never let fame get to his head one iota. I had a couple people text me yesterday that said if I ever met Franco, and I told him I never met him personally, but I was my cousin and some friends used to take me to Steelers training camp when I was young, like 13, 14, 15, before I was driving. And I remember just standing in a line of people, thousands of people at a training camp, Steelers training camp, and seeing Franco. He would sign autographs and speak to just about everybody. He was the kind of person that you read about in here that it's rare. He had this gift that he would make you feel like you were the most special person
right,
around.
And that's kind of what she was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. And there was some, you go back and look at the players from that era. And especially with the Steelers, but you look at guys like, go back and look at Franco and Joe Green and Jack Ham and Lambert and L.C. Greenwood and Ernie Holmes. I can go through and name quite a few of those guys.
Yeah.
And I was looking.
Jack Ham.
I got Lambert's picture over there with the Dracula picture with the teeth out. I grew up a Baltimore Colts fan.
Yeah.
And in 1971, I became a Pittsburgh Steelers fan because my Baltimore Colts left. That's when the Baltimore Colts were traded to Jim Irsay, and they moved to Indianapolis. And Rosenblum, who was the owner of the Colts at that time, received the Los Angeles Rams. That was July 13th, 1972. And I became a Steelers fan, and still a Steelers fan. I became a Panther fan when we got a team. I think you pull for your local team, but that doesn't mean that the teams you grew up with, you don't continue to pull for them as well.
Well, I mean, that was just evidence this past Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you have 60% of the fans.
At least 60%.
It's six, maybe more at Ericsson Stadium, formerly Ericsson Stadium, Bank of America Stadium, that were pulling for the Steelers.
Hoove. Good morning, Hoove. Tina Hoover Gant. She will always
Who's Hondo?
That's me. She always called me Hondo. My nickname in high school was Lando, L-A-N-D-O.
Okay.
Even on my letter jacket, that's what it says. That's what my daddy called me forever.
In baseball, they always end people's giving nicknames always end in Y.
Yeah. Yep. Richie said, and I pulled
like
this
Richie,
up.
like Lanny, like I don't know, Kevy, or we know who it was. They always ended in Y.
Well, I had nicknames for everybody. My wife still is blown away by that because very few people got called their real name.
It's easy to remember.
My kids.
Yeah.
I don't call my kids by the real name.
It's easy to remember that, right?
I mean, that's
Give 'em
just
nicknames.
just
That's the way it was.
Yeah, just the way I do. Richie also wanted to mention that Mr. Perfect, Cincinnati Reds pitcher Mr. Perfect, and his name, Richie could not remember his name.
Tom Browning.
Tom Browning passed away this week at the age of 62. And he has the only perfect game in Cincinnati Reds history.
Yeah.
That's why they call him Mr. Perfect.
So let me give you the quick story behind the Immaculate Reception. And it's going to tie it in to Clemson, believe it or not.
Okay.
So I can't remember the name of the play. It was 66 something or other, where guys go out and Franco wasn't even intended. He was supposed to stay in and block, and he stayed in and blocked, and all of a sudden,
Right.
Bradshaw rolled out and he threw down the field, and Franco was taught by his college coach Joe Paterno, go to the football. And you always hear coaches say, run to the football after wherever. Well, the play was intended for a rookie wide receiver / tight end, John McMakin. John McMakin is from Spartanburg, South Carolina. He was drafted in the 3rd round by the Steelers out of Clemson. He was a wide receiver tight end out of Clemson. The play was intended for him. Turns out the ball deflected back to Franco. McMakin made the block that sprung Franco loose. When he blocked, they say he did it illegally. It was a clip on Phil Villapiano.
Well, they also said that he didn't catch it, that it hit the ground.
But Villapiano, to this day, complains that he was clipped on the play. And if you go back and look at it, number 89 for the Steelers, coming like towards me, and he kind of, it's close, but he clipped Villapiano or blocked him and allowed Franco to scoot around the left side into the open. Yeah. And again, a little Clemson connection there.
It'll always be it's one of those things that will always be in the annals of history. And, as these people pass, you can't dispute what really happened.
Well, and I was doing some research last night wondering, where is John McMakin? I think he's out west someplace, but he would be one of the few people, and he's still alive, one of the few people that could actually probably had a good angle to see whether or not Franco, one, was it illegal catch? Did it bounce off of Frenchie Fuqua? And two, did Franco actually catch it off the ground or not? He would have had better even than the TV cameras because he was right there.
Ask you this question. Is that era better than today's era because you don't do the replay, it just happened the way it happened?
Probably.
Sometimes I wonder.
Yeah, I think fans back then were more black and white and willing to accept things.
Yeah.
Another thing about Franco that was amazing was I think he was probably, and why he was accepted so much into the Pittsburgh and regional community, he was the first biracial athlete in the city's history. His mom was Italian. His dad was African-American. His dad was in the Army or something.
He was born at Fort Dix.
Fort Dix.
In New Jersey,
Yeah. And he tells the story in his rookie season. They were trying to win a game in San Diego to clinch a playoff spot and to win the division for the first time ever, 1972. And, Franco's Italian Army was a big thing back then. He was half Italian. His mom was Italian. So they were practicing in San Diego 2 days before the game, and all of a sudden they had to stop practice. And who shows up to practice? Frank Sinatra. And these Italian guys from Pittsburgh, flew out to California and somehow, some way, got Frank Sinatra to come to practice. And they gave him the whatever sign it is, and they put him into Franco's Italian Army.
Wow. I've never heard that story.
Yeah.
I did not know this either, that was the first ever Pittsburgh playoff win.
Yeah, first ever.
Yeah. Do you know who it was that was in the process of tackling Frenchie Fuqua?
Jack Tatum.
Jack Tatum.
Yeah.
They called the assassin.
But he wore number 31 back then.
Okay.
He changed to 32 later on.
Okay. Jack Tatum has a Krause connection. He had family. He was born in Waco, just the other side of Cherryville. So, yeah, I remember Jack Tatum. That was a guy that you'd see in the store when you was a kid. Yeah. Let me take a break, and I'll elaborate on my extensive story and experience from Tuesday.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com.
Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Have you thought about when you would like to retire? One of your major assets is planning for retirement is time, and you lose a little of it each day. The longer you wait to start accumulating capital for retirement, the harder it's going to be. How should you plan for retirement? Start by calculating approximately how much capital you will need at retirement, then estimate how much you will have to put away each year. Finally, carefully choose the investments in which you will invest. Stifel Nicholas can assist you. Call 4Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
And we're back.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm good.
So I got these new glasses the other day, and they gave me a little bit of a headache, so I took them off.
Let me tell you my story.
Okay.
Okay.
We heard a little bit of it, right?
And I just, my wife said, wait till I go to my post-op. And I'm like, no, I'm not waiting till you go to your post-op, because I'm not exactly going to just hammer this place. I guess I'm more disappointed than anything else. And let me go ahead and put a disclaimer or two out here, okay? I'm not in favor of masks, but if you have a business and you require or ask me to wear a mask, I'll do that. I'm not going to show my ass and be ugly or nothing like that. However, I do not carry one anymore for any reason. And if where you're at, and I've been in a few places that do still require them, they have a box of the little paper ones that cost like 49 cents for 1,000 of them. That's because they're very effective in defeating things.
Even Joe Biden's main guy yesterday, the day before, came out and said that the masks were of no use.
So I take my wife to get her surgery at the Greystone Clinic, and I go to Greystone. Great doctors, okay? I guess I'm putting this more on they've got a procedure and philosophy that they have not done their research and explored enough to make sure that they do it properly. Hey, Jerry, Bob, we went up there, and when you pull in, if you've seen this complex, as I said in my first post, multi-million-dollar complex office. Yeah. Huge, massive, tons of cars in the parking lot. If you want to know why things are expensive, that's part of it. And I fought banks on the same thing. Banks don't need these huge crystal, gold, bronze, brass stuff to have a bank.
The columns in front and everything.
Yeah. So we pulled down. The surgery center's down on the bottom. I pulled through the drive-through, let her out, and I said, I'm going to go park and I'll be in. I saw a sign that said masks are required. Okay. So I walk in. I noticed when I walked in, there were a lot of people sitting in the parking lot. Didn't occur to me. I walk in. She's going through her check-in process, and I'm not paying attention. I let them finish. And I said, I'm sorry, I don't carry a mask. Can I get a mask? She said, we do not supply masks to drivers. You'll have to wait in the parking lot.
There you go.
I wanted to explode at that point, because if you're going to require me to do something in your place of business, these are not $100 things. You gave my wife one. This procedure, I don't mind telling you, was elective because it's corrective lens because she's having trouble. Somewhere in, I don't know, $8,000 to $10,000 range for both eyes. Now, pretty sure you could afford a mask. I was.
They had masks lying around for the
didn't
patients.
have them lying around. They gave her one, but they didn't. They do not give masks to drivers. They require me to be there because she can't drive when she gets done. But yet they require a mask in their place of business, but they don't give me a paper mask.
You know what I'd have done? I'd have went to CVS or someplace and got some mask and handed them a box.
Part of what I wanted to do was sit down and say, call security and remove me.
Yeah, that too.
Did not want to upset my wife. No. She's going in to have this surgery. That's what I wanted to do because that was the right thing. Then you bring somebody out here and move me out of here.
Yep.
I went to the truck. This is supposed to be a quick procedure. It's 3 hours later.
Oh, my God.
I have no idea what's going on. I get out of my truck, and when just before I get to the door, my phone rings. Your wife is finished. Everything's good. If you could pull up to the door. I said, okay. So I turned around and went back, got my truck, and I pulled up. My biggest thing is I'm very disappointed in an operation that size, that respected, in this area for eye care.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the top doctors.
Mm-hmm.
If I were going to have that, that's probably where I'm going. I wouldn't want anybody else to do it, okay?
And they have offices in Charlotte and other places.
God,
yes.
Yeah. But to do that and tell me that you can't furnish me a paper mask that you're requiring. My question, okay, first off, and I had a lot of people to respond to this, and if it makes you mad or offends you because this pisses me off, well, so be it. Merry Christmas. Because if you require me and I'm paying you, you should give me that quarter mask or whatever it cost.
Yeah.
That was not a good procedure and not a good philosophy on the part of Greystone.
Yep.
Okay? And
it wasn't
even sir, I'm sorry, but they won't allow us to give masks to drivers. I apologize. You're going to have to wait in the parking lot. We don't give masks to drivers. You have to wait in your car. That was the part.
You
that
should
is,
give-
and
you should
I'm
did the
not
Gandhi
done.
thing.
I'm not done. I will send something to Greystone and tell them that I think that's a bad form on your part. That's not the way you should be treating your clients, because I would hate to think what was made that day. I mean, and everybody's got to make a living.
And every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Couldn't give a paper mask. Let's just say, for example, you're right, Dave Lilly said should have been communicated during pre-op. I'll be honest with you. There are very few places that you go now that are still requiring masks, including doctor's offices, unless you think you may be positive and they put you on the sick side.
Yeah.
You know, like where I go, there's a sick side and a well side. So if you're feeling bad, they put you in a different place just in case, and I'm completely good with that. But you know what? They'll have me a mask.
I went to an urgent care.
And they're only getting $35 copay.
127, I went to urgent care right across the street from, up 127 North.
Yep.
The newest urgent care next to the Catholic Church. You walk in, they hand you a mask. And this was back in August.
Most of the time there's a box.
Yeah, you can grab them how many of you want. If you want to put 3 of them on your face, some of them upside down underneath your chin.
Bob said, bottom line, these companies have too much business. And, and the person checking her in, it was worn about like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why even put it on?
I just, and I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble, and I'm not trying to be ugly about things, but I'm trying to.
You should just sat on the floor like Gandhi and just had to sit in and have him come remove you. I know it embarrassed Kim.
And the reason I can't do stuff like that, I'll give you another example, okay, because I am who I am, okay? Like it or don't
you
like it.
You are as an authentic a person as I know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Did I tell you about I told you a story about watching the World Cup at Chili's.
Yes.
And when they scored, everybody's taking their shirt up, and I stood up to take my shirt off, and everybody got all upset because we just scored. That's what everybody else is doing. Why can't I take my shirt off? I had a shirt on underneath, but it was just the point. But that's just who I am.
Yes, yeah, it is.
But I have no trouble. I have no trouble following rules. But if you're going to make rules, as David said, and you don't give me notice of your rules, then you're going to have to give me something to follow your rules.
Do you think each and every day that people go there? I mean, you can't be just the only one that.
Dude, I'm telling you, the parking lot was full of people,
and everybody just
sitting in their cars.
Everybody just followed along. Everybody was sheep. No one said anything to anybody.
It's one of them things, I guess, where you don't want to upset the person you're taking up there. They got to go into surgery, but I can do it now. I can do it now. Richie said, our organization has a mask mandate that depends on transmission rate. Right now, it is so low, we require masks in areas where patients are and procedures are being conducted. We provide masks at the registration desk. That's the way it works, Richie. And I would have had no problem. I would have taken the stupid mask and put it on and had a seat right there in the waiting room.
Yeah, that's good. Times I've been there, they've had some good magazines, too, to read.
I would have just been fine. I had my phone. It was freshly charged. I could play games. I'm good. I'm good. But it was the point was if you're going to require something, you've got to furnish it to me.
Absolutely.
When I took my cousin when he was going through his radiation treatments, Lindsay said my primary care is at the desk. Everywhere I've ever been, sis, they've got them at the desk. When we were having to go to Viewmont Urology, that's his physician, and at the time when they were still requiring masks, there was a box when you checked in. You just got your paper mask.
Yeah.
When we went to Catawba Valley Medical Center to do his treatments, as a matter of fact, they had certain paper mask, but they were a different paper mask, and they wanted you to use their mask. Not one that you had. They wanted you to use this mask. And they had a camera scanner thing. You put this mask on, And if you've ever been for treatments, there's an elevator goes up to the second floor. You put this mask on, and there was a camera, and you'd have to get in that camera, and it had to verify that you had your mask on properly, and then it would print you your little tag where you could get on the floor, okay, because everybody had to have a tag where you were going, what you were doing. I'm okay with all that. Now, a lot of times, stupid machine would not work and not print me a tag, okay? So we would have to go upstairs. There was a person working there, and all you had to do was, I got my mask on, but it wouldn't print me a tag. Can you get me a tag? They would print you a tag. If you're going to have procedures, you got to be able to man those procedures,
Yeah.
and it's on you to make sure that they're followed. Not me. It's on you. But it just it irritated me, as you can tell, to no end of what they asked me to do, but yet they didn't participate. They weren't giving away these surgeries of this parking lot full of people.
No.
If I'm lying, I'm dying. There were, when we left, I don't know how many cars was there when we got there at 7, but when we left, there was at least 60, 80 cars
Wow.
in the parking lot between the surgery center and
You
people's
said 3-hour surgery, right? Could you have gone
like
out?
Gilligan's Island.
Yeah.
A 3-hour tour.
Could you have gone to a nearby store and picked up a mask and gone
Yep.
inside and said,
Yep.
"Hey, I'm here."
Yep.
If you'd have known it was going to be 3 hours, right? Were you expecting it to be what? How long? You weren't.
Well,
expecting.
I was told 10 to 12 minutes per eye. I know she said
What?
the laser
What?
procedure to get rid of your lens is like 3 minutes.
What?
And then they do
3 hours? You're talking about 30 minutes to 3 hours.
Mm-hmm. The problem is getting you hooked up, IV, give you a little Twilight juice, and then recovery and all that kind of
Wow.
stuff. So I was expecting an hour or so. So I'm like, okay, I'll just sit here, and not knowing what's going on, you don't want to leave.
No.
You know,
and you started
I want to be
stewing.
available.
Yeah. And you were probably
As
getting.
soon as I hit the car, it was on. I mean, I was formulating, walking back to the truck, what I was going to do. I was going Facebook. There was no doubt about that. I was going Facebook. And then I would explain the story, later. But I'm here again, let me make sure you understand my position. I'm not against them requiring masks. That's their right. That's their business.
That's their business.
I'm
I totally
completely
agree
okay
you.
with that.
Yeah.
Okay? I don't have to like it, but if I'm going to use them, I have to abide by it. I do take issue that you wouldn't give me a freaking cheap mask. I'm going to take a break, and I'm going to get a price on a mask, and then I'll get back to you. But I'm going to take a break. Donnie, good morning to you. He's on Christmas break. Means you get to listen to you. Thank you, Donnie. And a couple day late, happy birthday. I think Donnie had a birthday just a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Let me take my break, and then I'll be back with more. I don't know. We might even talk some sports or something this morning.
Dabo's in hot water again, right? Something he said yesterday. Signing day about NIL.
You know how I feel about Dabo. He's our coach.
I think some people probably took it the wrong way, but he's like you. He's a very authentic person, right?
Yeah, he is who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm okay with that. Back in a minute.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit MooneyInsurance.com. Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Have you thought about when you would like to retire? One of your major assets is planning for retirement is time, and you lose a little of it each day. The longer you wait to start accumulating capital for retirement, the harder it's going to be. How should you plan for retirement? Start by calculating approximately how much capital you will need at retirement, then estimate how much you will have to put away each year. Finally, carefully choose the investments in which you will invest. Steve Nicholas can assist you. Call 4 Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Steve Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
And welcome back. Okay, let me go back and finish up my story, then we'll go sports. As most of you know, there's a very popular, I buy some stuff from them. I bought some furniture and different things from them, a company called Uline.com. Okay. And I just looked it up on Uline, and Uline's basic surgical mask, which is what I'm pretty sure she had on. If you buy 12 boxes, and a box is 50. Okay, if you buy 12 boxes, a box is $5. So if I'm doing my West Lincoln math right, that's a dime. So that mask was a dime. Now, if they did have the deluxe surgical mask, okay, you're up to around 17 cents per mask. When I go in for a $10,000 procedure, and you tell me that you can't hand me a nickel mask, a dime mask, yeah, I'm going to get pissed.
Yeah.
I'm going to get pissed.
They should give you a gold mask.
I guess.
Sprinkles of gold and frankincense or wherever.
Richie said, which will cost less, several boxes of mask or the price of the Sunday ticket? I'm going to say the box of mask, Richie. Sunday ticket, they're negotiating with Google and YouTube.
Oh.
And it's because that is where people are going.
They're
going
streaming
streaming.
everything.
I do. I always have. And the biggest reason I do is if I'm up here working on a weekend, I can pull up a game because I stream. I'm not watching at home, so I just pull it up in here and I can watch the game.
So I'm a big fan because I grew, maybe you did too. You grew up in the era and you have radio. I'd much rather listen to an announcer describe the game as opposed to watching it. If I'm going to watch it, I want to be in the comforts. And I know you're here, but I find.
Well, I'm not sitting here watching it. I'm basically listening,
Yeah.
and then if something big happens, I can turn.
Yeah,
You know.
I would love to. I just love to listen to football broadcasts.
Mm-hmm. What's the best sport for radio?
Oh, baseball without a doubt.
And I'm not even a baseball fan, but you're right.
And again, it goes back to my childhood when I was of age and started listening to the radio. My favorite teams were the best in the league.
Mm-hmm.
They were champions. The Pirates won in World Series. They were in the playoffs in 70, World Series in 71 when I was 10. They were in the playoffs in 72, 73, 74, 75, all the way through the 70s, won another World Series in the late 70s in 79. And so they were very good, and their announcer was very good. So I listened while I was working out or doing something, was in the car or at home. I had my transistor radio at night listening to baseball. So that was my childhood growing up, and I probably have done it with other sports. I love when we're doing football games, either going to the game or coming back, flip on the radio. Used to be before XM radio, and now XM is that we listen to other broadcasts. And I love listening to out-of-town broadcasters.
If I'm watching a game and I have to leave for some reason, run an errand, whatever, I immediately go to my Sirius XM and try to find it because, like, you get up on my radio, it's up in the hundreds. You've got feeds for the ACC, for the SEC, for the Big Ten. You can usually find a game. May not be the crew that you want for the team that you're listening to.
Yeah.
It could be an opposing crew, but you still get to listen to the game.
And I love the channel that they have where it's like Red Zone.
Yeah.
But it's the audio version of Red Zone where they jump around to all the different top 25 games. I was listening to the Panthers game Sunday, and then I was flipping to the Steelers game as well. And the Steelers and this is me with my radio background. I had the Panthers on one of my devices, and I had the Steelers on another device on my phone. And I was listening to both of the broadcasts, and you'd think it was two different games.
Oh, yeah.
That game for the Panthers, for the first time that I remember, I think because it was a home game, it was like Panthers alumni. They took Zoki out of the box. They put him in pregame and postgame, and they brought in Luke Kinkley and Jack Delhomme as the announcers
And Jordan Gross sometime, unless he's not doing it now.
Well, no, they had those two together, and what's his name? The guy that does the play-by-play, who I can't stand, but great. I'm sure
Anish.
I'm sure he's a great guy, but all he did was ask questions. He wasn't even paying attention. Panthers scored a touchdown. Oh, there's a touchdown. Somebody scored for the Steelers.
Tepper and his wife handpicked that one.
And he has no background in radio. No background in radio.
He's a TV guy.
Yeah, he's a TV guy, and that's
and I
great.
like him. I like Anish. Met him a number of times.
Yeah. But he has no feel as a radio announcer.
It's different. Just like if you're doing a TV broadcast, you can't call it like you do
radio.
radio.
No, you can't. I struggle with that myself. But if you're going to be a radio announcer and you're broadcasting an NFL game and somebody scores a touchdown, it just can't be an oh by the way, here's a touchdown. Give it some passion, give it some juice when this team scores a touchdown, and I just don't get that from him.
Question. Big sporting news yesterday. Signing day.
Yes, NIL. Not NIL. And National Letter of Intent.
Mm-hmm. NLI.
NLI, yeah.
Arch Manning officially signed with Texas.
Correct.
My question to you is.
Big ceremony up the road here too, right? For the Culliver kid.
Yeah. But my question to you is Arch Manning and Steve Sarkisian still together at the end of Arch Manning's
3 years?
Yeah. What's the word I'm looking for? Eligibility.
Possibly. I just don't get him, or at least I don't sense that this young kid is somebody that's going to jump around.
that's not who I thought would be leaving in that 3 years.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Sarkisian has put together what they thought he was going to put together at Texas.
And they're getting ready to go into a new conference. So.
And take a deluxe.
Well, I mean, we'll see.
If you were Arch Manning, where would you have went? If you could pick any school, where would you have went?
Ah, boy, that's a good question. Probably the way it's going right now, Southern California.
That's exactly where I would have went. I'd have went wherever Lincoln Riley is.
Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly where I would have went.
But Sarkisian's a good recruiter.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Do you want to play for a good recruiter or a good coach?
Is Lincoln Riley a good coach, or is he a good offensive-minded coach?
He's a good offensive-minded coach. He is a quarterback whisperer.
Yeah.
That's why I would have made that choice. But I also think, and I think it's taking a little time for him to learn this, but he's an offensive guru that understands I still got to have pretty good defense on the field too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he hasn't had it, though.
I understand.
He's got to build that.
Yep. And he's got to
Otherwise,
do that.
you can't keep winning games 50-40. Hey, the story came out that Drake May was offered a bunch of money.
$5 million.
$5 million. Now, the guy that covers high school sports around the state, Chris Hughes, said his sources, which he did not reveal, said that it was $10 million, that there were a couple of coaches. And again, if the guy, if a fellow coach says, I know who these coaches are, come out and say it.
I listened to somebody say that.
Pat Narduzzi.
Yeah.
Pat Narduzzi, the Pitt coach, during his weekly said Drake May was offered $5 million by two coaches, two programs. I'm not going to come out and say who they are. Well, why not?
And here's the deal, and I'm trying to remember
if they're doing
who Cowherd was talking to. Because the question was, are you bothered by that?
It's either Ohio State, Alabama, or Texas A&M.
And here's the deal.
Those three.
Are you bothered by that?
Am I?
Other than it's tampering? But is it really tampering when it's open recruiting now?
Well,
because you can't be upset by the NIL because that's legal.
It is.
You can't be upset if the guy wants to transfer because that's legal. The problem is you shouldn't be throwing that kind of money around. That's where the NCAA, being the, excuse my French, the dumbasses that they are.
NCAA stands for no clue about athletics.
No clue about anything. They refuse to admit that this could really happen. Therefore, they refuse to get involved and make sure that it had some control. Now the genie's out of the bottle. You're not putting it back.
You think?
Because here's what's going to happen. If they try to restrict this, the big boys will take their ball and go play somewhere else. Because now it's all legal. They can do this the Wild Wild West. They can do anything they want to.
They got to put some more. And then, they put some guidelines as to the transfer portal.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll end up putting some guidelines with this, that you cannot go. You cannot go ahead and offer somebody a bunch of money before they get into the portal. That's what they're upset about, the tampering, like you said. They're offering Drake, if that's true, allegedly, $5 million, but he hadn't even put his name in the portal yet.
Now, let me go back. Milton thinks Georgia might have been on that list too.
Probably.
Richie said Sark gets run out of town, especially if he can't make it to the SEC championship game.
Not yet.
If he can't in 3 years, he'll get run out of time.
Who's going to be better?
Huh?
That's about the same time that Nick Saban's going to retire in 2 or 3. Think about 2 or 3 years. Some of these coaches are getting ready. Saban, perhaps. Who will Texas get that's better than Sark in 2 or 3 years? They're going to go to the NFL and try to get somebody, or they're going to go get Matt Rule?
He's got a job.
2 or 3 years if he's not good at Nebraska?
So you go throw money at him again if he fails there too? All right, so
it's Wild Wild West, right?
It is.
Even for coaches.
It is. And Richie says the rules state that NIL can't be negotiated until the kid has signed it on campus. Well, we know that it is, but we know that that's not the way it works. So it's a nice thought, but it's not the way it works.
Either that or put a salary cap in. You go to these major programs and say, okay, here's $100 million. Your team, you cannot get NIL deals.
Milton says poaching is poaching.
Yeah.
All right, let me get off of that side of it for just a second. Okay, Richie, here's your time to shine, big guy, and my daughter, because they're big Carolina fans. Here's your time to shine. What am I missing? Everybody's saying if he could come out to the NFL,
Drake May
this year,
he's not ready.
And
he's not ready.
The kid that won the Heisman, Williams.
Yeah, Caleb Williams.
Both of them would be 1-2.
Nope,
and
not this year.
You
mean if they were eligible?
The kid out of Alabama would be 3 to 5.
No, you mean this year?
Yeah. If they could come out today
at 20 years old.
Yep.
No,
Yep.
They're not physically ready.
What am I missing? What am I missing? I'm not being
Who's a better quarterback
I'm not being
right now?
one-sided here, okay? I'm not being one-sided. When you watch Trevor Lawrence play, you saw something special. I didn't see that with Drake May. And I heard that same tale from the iconic Sam Howell that can't even make it as a backup when he was at Carolina. He was the next greatest quarterback ever. Is it the program can't get him there? Here again, if I'm Drake May, what do you give me to go to Southern Cal?
He's not like that. I don't think he's like that.
I understand, but if he's that great an athlete at quarterback, wouldn't you want who's considered to be one of the greatest quarterback coaches? He's not leaving Carolina because of the ties. His brother, his dad.
His grandfather.
He's not doing that. I get that. And
he's
I
got a good-looking girlfriend, too.
And I admire that. They'll give her a scholarship. I know a guy they did that for, too, that played when I played.
His girlfriend's brother is just signed with Carolina.
Tad Hudson.
Yes.
Somebody put that Tad Hudson will replace him before his eligibility expires.
I don't know.
I'm just so.
I think
before we close, let me go one step further. So, what is your expected return? This is all hypothetical. Richie said he heard Ohio State offered $6 million. What is your expected rate of return or return on a $5 million NIL deal if you brought that quarterback in? Is that a national championship? Is that a conference championship? Is that a playoff visit? I'm trying to understand if I'm investing that and I'm spending that money.
Are you talking about the collective? Or are you talking about is there one person that gave that money? Or are you talking about the fans' expectations?
I don't care. You've got some entity, singular or plural, that is saying, quote unquote, $5 million to come play for me. What is that entity, or what is that school that is encouraging this entity to invest? What are they telling that entity? Okay, you bankroll this. This is what we can expect to do.
Yeah, boy.
Is that a national championship?
Probably. Or a conference championship. I just think you're getting in some sticky waters. And I'm mixing my metaphors there. Sorry about that.
Richie said, I think Drake is better than Howell.
Oh, no question.
That's obvious. Drake needs to polish up on footwork and some mechanics. I think they are saying Williams and May would be better based on potential.
Caleb Williams is not. He's not going to be a number one. He's not the number one pick.
Wait a minute. If we're talking potential, does anybody remember Brian Bosworth? Does anybody remember Tony Mandrich?
Brian Bosworth wasn't a bad pro.
Not what it was expected of him. Does anybody remember Todd Marinovich? Does anybody remember what's the the black quarterback that was a total bust that went number one.
Jamarcus Russell.
Jamarcus Russell. Potential. I have a potential to be a a-hole, but it don't always come out.
No, I just from what I see, I don't see Caleb Williams being one of those kind of guys. A franchise quarterback.
Richie says, aren't they always drafting on potential?
Yeah. Trevor Lawrence is the modern-day version, in my opinion.
Dan Marino.
Dan Marino with long hair.
Mm-hmm. And Cowherd said it best. Cowherd said, used to be when a quarterback came in, you were looking for year 3, where they're at in year 3, before you had to start exercising extension options.
Mm-hmm.
He said now, oh, yeah, good one, Milton. Ryan Leaf. There's another one. The other thing is when you're looking, Bob says it's a business investment, and it is. And that was my question. What is that business looking to get back? Donnie said, I can't imagine that kind of investment by any entity without the expectation of a resulting national championship. If I'm dropping that kind of cash, I'm looking for a Bama run of national championships. It's just hard to do.
And if that player does not live up to the expectation, is the media and fans allowed to criticize the player's performance?
Don't you do it when
I mean, they do it in the NFL, right?
Yeah,
in the pros.
right.
But these are kids. You can't do that, right?
When you start
I'm
taking
40.
Wait a minute, hold on.
I'm 40.
Hold on.
Criticize me. What's his name? Gundy.
When you start taking money, you became an adult. You're an adult at 18. When you started playing for money instead of playing
for the love of the game,
opportunity and the love of the game to be out there competing, you became a hard adult there.
Again, we're talking.
Heath Schuler, that's another good one, Link.
We're talking about 2% or 3% of all college football players here. The other 97, 98%, they're playing for the right reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we're talking about the best of the best.
I love any level of football.
Yeah.
But I really like watching FCS, Division II, Division III, because it's just different. Those kids and those coaches are there because they want to be.
Yeah.
Richie said there's no more amateur athletics after high school. It's gonna filter down to that. There is at smaller programs, Richie, not at the big boys.
Which is the majority of the colleges and universities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you have 1,000 universities and we're talking about 40 or 50 maybe, again, less than 10%.
Richie said Bama went back to being Bama and signed the number 1 class. Okay, that doesn't always pay.
And they're losing players, too. They lost a bunch of guys. The Brockermeyer twin, one of the Brockermeyer twins, the offensive lineman, he may wind up at Clemson. He was going to sign with Clemson. He and his brother signed with Alabama. His one brother staying at Alabama. The younger one, I guess not the younger one, but the other one is going in the portal. Son of Blake Brockermeyer, right?
Yes,
played
that's
for
right.
Panthers.
Milton said the Chickens quarterback lost his NIL. Lincoln said the Air Force is playing tonight. I hunted for a football game last night, Lincoln, and couldn't find one. Thank you, because I'll tune in to that tonight. One more thought. The Dabo thing was Richie posted. You can see it on the feed. One rumor I heard, I'll go out on this. One rumor I heard was the reason DJ couldn't be replaced is because he was on an NIL deal. That's all I'm going to say.
And where does he wind up at?
He's already signed.
With Hawaii?
No, but it's in the Mountain West.
Okay, I didn't know that.
It's either Hawaii or what was the other team? Small college. It's I saw that. Doesn't he have some Hawaiian ties?
I don't know. I just saw.
I don't know why I was thinking Ugliaglie was. I mean, honestly,
no,
I thought
not Hawaii, but he's Samoan, isn't he? Something like that. Yeah. One of those island nations.
Kerry said if a player gets NIL money from a school and doesn't work out, can the deal be revoked? I think these are 1-year deals, Kerry.
Yeah.
That would be my guess.
It's like the old-fashioned scholarship.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's what I had. That's why I went on half scholarship after, and I said, no, I'll just go to the house because it's too expensive to go out of state.
Yeah.
All right, I'm out. Have a great Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. The boys will be here on Saturday, as far as I know, unless they change their mind. They'll be here Saturday to kind of wrap up the week. Hope you have a wonderful Christmas. I can't tell you if I'll be here next week or not. I really never can tell you that, but I don't know what my plans are yet. They're still up in the air. Have a good one. I'll see you when I see you.